Mary Jane Cobbs, the phone lady. And this video is about taking a deeper look at the connection between preparation and story finding. The word preparation comes to us from 13th century French. The word was préparation, préparation in French. And the meaning was to make ready, to do a preliminary act, to make something ready ahead of time. And that makes sense. When we prepare a meal, when we prepare for a conversation, we are doing something ahead of time. But I want to connect that word with another word, assumption, which comes to us from 1620s English, and it means to take something for granted. So when we spend too much time preparing for a conversation with a prospect or a client, it will be human nature for us to start making assumptions, to take for granted that we know something based on a press release we've read or research we've done at their website or things we've seen on LinkedIn, to take it for granted that we know something that maybe we don't really know. And what story finding is about is allowing that prospect, that client, to tell us what we need to know, as opposed to our assuming that we already know. We want to limit our preparation so that we will automatically come up with the questions that will help us discover more. We want to limit our preparation so that it will be easier for us to ignite our curiosity, because we won't be making any assumptions about what we already know. This can be tricky to do. An example I can share with you is earlier in 2021, I did a presentation on phone sales skills for a company. And this is what they do. They measure systems, they create measuring systems that close the gap between classical dimensional metrology and surface roughness. What? When I went to their website to prepare, and I realized this is how they describe what they do, I thought, oh my gosh, maybe I can't even do this training with them. I have no idea what this means. Fortunately, I had also asked them for a sample of a company that might be their client, and they gave me Tesla as a sample. So in my brain, I was able to sort of piece together that they were innovating measuring systems for engineering processes, and that surface roughness was something that was important to measure when you were creating something, engineering something. Gosh, I still don't really sound like I know, correct? Right. Anyway, during the webinar, I was very straight up, and I said, you know, of all the webinars I've created across so many industries, I have to admit that your company has been the hardest one for me to really understand. They laughed and they said, you know what? We hear that all the time and we don't really understand it sometimes ourselves. So that lack of preparation, I could have spent hours and hours. I could have made phone calls to engineers that I know, etc. I could have put a lot of time into it. But grasping what I did about measurement, surface roughness, Tesla, engineering, admitting that I had struggled to understand and was struggling to understand, created laughter, which is a great way to create relationship, but also opened up our conversation. So they really shared with me the important things to them that they wanted me to understand. And that is story finding. Now, when it comes to customer service, what we want to do, let's say you have a customer on the phone with you and they are really upset, and you start to make assumptions as to why they are really upset, and you start to even maybe take some of that personally. What you want to do is step back and ask a question. So let's take, for example, that they're upset because their internet connection isn't working very well. So you listen to them and then you say, I'm sorry this is happening to you. How is this impacting you right now? So maybe because they're working from home, they have a proposal that's due in 20 minutes. Well, that would be why their emotional reaction is extreme and panicking, and why they're having trouble listening to you. Help them. And that will help you communicate with them in a way that's going to make sense for them and lower that emotional reaction. But maybe it's simply that tomorrow they have a presentation to do and they're panicking about that already. Again, you can structure your conversation, your story finding, the way you speak to them, and structure how you help them based on that bit of story finding that you did with, how is this impacting you right now? So the idea of preparation, the connection between story finding and preparation, is to make sure you don't fall down a rabbit hole of research that will lead you to assumptions, that you don't make assumptions in customer service about how people are reacting to you in your role in customer service. And what I wish for you is that you're not afraid to do less preparation in order to discover more through conversation. Conversation is our most powerful tool to communicate with someone, to create connection, loyalty, but definitely to discover things that you need to know in order to create relationship and have a marvelous discussion, conversation, webinar, whatever you're doing for that client or that prospect. So don't be afraid to do less preparation in order to discover more through conversation. Thanks.